Okay, so you found a great source and you need to format the source for your references page and for your weekly discussions using APA citation format. So what do? Okay, let's assume that you have the URL for the source. The next thing you want to do, I recommend, is go to the citation machine and just put in this citation machine APA, and that will give you a link to the citation machine. Click on it, open it up. Notice what it says. Most of you will probably be using a website. And so you find your URL, the URL, copy and paste it into this window, and then click on Search Websites. This is exactly what I was looking for. I had gotten it from Hunter's last exercise that he put online. And so once you find the article that you originally appreciated, you put in the URL and you select, and you get a report from the citation machine that indicates the information it found that should contribute to the citation. Okay? So, and what it did not find, that should be in the citation, but may not always be possible. Okay, so you found this. Now we scroll down, click on Final Step, and you'll see here that in the final step, it put in all of that information that APA requires that you use. And look down there. There's the add an annotation that I mentioned. But before we get there, we need to fill in the blanks, because as you can see, the author's name is not here. In fact, the machine placed it all under last name, when actually there are 3 authors for this article. So I'm going to copy and cut that out and see if I can bring up a Word document. Yes, I'm just going to stick it in here. Actually, I already did. Here are the 3 names that were stuffed into the last name box. Okay? So I'm going to take each of these 3 names and insert them into the citation machine's author format. Alrighty? So I'm going to go back here and take Jeff Stiers, and I'm going to copy him and put him in over here. Jeff Stier, but I got to take out the last name and stick it into last name. Okay? So that's one author, but there are 2 others. So I click on Add Another Contributor, and I'm going to go back again and pick out Chris Giannutzos. Just Chris Giannutzos. Copy that. Come back over here and stick him into the second author's area. Take out his last name and stick the last name over in the box where it belongs. And I've got one more author to put in here, so I'm going to go back again. Ernst & Young. That's not quite right. Ernst & Young is a publishing company. You're going to make these mistakes inevitably. Don't worry about them. So ignore that. So we only really have 2 here, and the system simply misinterpreted the publisher's name. Oops. So I get to remove that. But the thing is, remember down here? Remember where it said it didn't have a publisher? Well, you could go back and add the publisher. You could go back and start the whole thing over again and recognize that Ernst & Young was the publisher's name. If I don't run out of time for this recording, I may do that. But meanwhile, here is everything else you needed. Everything else you needed. Except, of course, the annotation. I'm going to jump over to Hunter's assignment, if it's still here. Yes, here it is. And I'm going to use what he put down for this particular source. This was the source. And retrieved from yada yada yada. And it looks like due to this full colon, what Hunter says is that this is the important point that he found here, all the way up to maybe, I'm just going to guess that it ends somewhere around here. Okay? Now you don't necessarily have to pull this straight from your post. You can utilize it, you could develop this as you see fit. Remember that the annotation is meant to remind you later on of how you want to use the information from this source. It could be a quote. It could be like Hunter did, summarizing, which I think is what this is, what he appreciated from this particular source. Or it could be paraphrasing the important information using more simple, clear terms for your audience. Okay, so here we have completed it. We have completed everything that the citation machine requires to produce that citation you need for your annotated bibliography and later for your term paper. So I'm going to click on Create Citation, and there it is. Here's the entire citation. This part is what you would put on your references page when it comes to your term paper. It is also what you should put in that central column in the weekly exercises based upon the end of the term readings. The annotation, in fact, this entire thing, is what you will add to your annotated bibliography that is coming due. The citation itself and your annotation. Whatever information you want to use from it or whatever you found useful in it, you add to the bottom. And notice that it is double spaced and that this right here is called a hanging indent, and that is the correct way to do it. Also notice that you can change it into a quotation or you can check for grammatical errors. There are a lot of things that the citation machine can do for you. But the simplest one is this right here. It can format your sources in the correct APA citation form for your references page. Realize that you must also indicate those sources in your term paper as in-text citations, but we'll get into that a little bit more later on.